The rise of Adolf Hitler and his Nazi regime stands as one of the darkest chapters in human history. His ascent to power was marked by a combination of political savvy, ruthless ambition, and a deeply flawed ideology that preyed on the fears and prejudices of the time. This period saw the systematic annihilation of millions of innocent people, based solely on their ethnicity, religion, or political beliefs. The Holocaust in particular remains a chilling testament to the depths of human cruelty and the dangers of unchecked hatred. Understanding the factors that led to this horrific period is crucial to prevent such atrocities from ever happening again. By examining the social, economic, and political conditions of the time, we can gain insights into how such a regime was able to rise to power and commit such heinous acts. This essay delves into the complex historical context that allowed Nazism to take root and flourish in Germany. It explores the interplay of various forces that created a fertile ground for extremist ideologies to thrive. We will explore the aftermath of World War I, the crippling conditions imposed by the Treaty of Versailles, and the subsequent economic and social turmoil that gripped the nation. The harsh reparations and territorial losses inflicted on Germany created a sense of humiliation and resentment among its people. The essay will trace Hitler's ascent to power, from his early days as a disgruntled war veteran to his transformation into a charismatic yet deeply disturbed political leader. His ability to tap into the collective discontent and present himself as the savior of Germany was instrumental in his rise. We will dissect the core tenets of Nazi ideology, a toxic blend of nationalism, racism, and anti-Semitism. This ideology was not only propagated through speeches and writings but also through symbols and rituals that created a sense of unity and purpose among its followers. And examine how this poisonous ideology was disseminated through sophisticated propaganda campaigns. The role of figures like Joseph Goebbels in crafting and spreading Nazi propaganda cannot be overstated. Their efforts ensured that the Nazi message reached every corner of German society. Finally, we will confront the horrors of the Holocaust, a genocide that claimed the lives of 6 million Jews. The systematic nature of this genocide, with its industrial-scale killing and meticulous record-keeping, highlights the terrifying efficiency of the Nazi regime, and countless others deemed undesirable by the Nazi regime. The persecution extended beyond Jews to include Roma, disabled individuals, political dissidents, and other minority groups, each targeted for extermination or brutal repression. This dark period serves as a stark reminder of the fragility of peace and the importance of vigilance against hatred and intolerance in all its forms. The lessons learned from this era underscore the need for continued education, remembrance, and commitment to human rights to ensure that such atrocities are never repeated. World War I left Germany in ruins, both physically and psychologically. The once proud nation lay defeated, its economy shattered, its people demoralized. The Treaty of Versailles, signed in 1919, officially ended the war but sowed the seeds of resentment and instability in Germany. The treaty imposed harsh reparations payments on Germany, crippling its already weakened economy. Vast territories were stripped away, reducing Germany's size and industrial capacity. The once mighty German army was reduced to a shadow of its former self, further wounding national pride. These punitive measures, intended to keep Germany weak and prevent future aggression, had the opposite effect. They created a deep sense of humiliation and resentment among the German population, a fertile ground for extremist ideologies to take root.
The myth of the stab in the back began to circulate, claiming that Germany had not been defeated on the battlefield but betrayed by internal enemies, such as Jews and socialists. This dangerous narrative gained traction, poisoning the political discourse and paving the way for the rise of demagogues like Adolf Hitler.
The 1920s witnessed a period of immense social and economic upheaval in Germany. The war had left deep scars, and the country struggled to rebuild amidst hyperinflation, unemployment, and political instability. The Weimar Republic, Germany's fledgling democracy, seemed ill-equipped to handle these crises, further eroding public trust in democratic institutions. The German currency, the mark, collapsed under the weight of reparations payments, leading to hyperinflation. Savings were wiped out, and the middle class, the backbone of any stable society, was decimated. People watched in despair as their life savings became worthless, their purchasing power evaporating overnight. Unemployment soared as factories closed and businesses failed. The streets were filled with desperate men and women seeking work and struggling to feed their families. This economic misery created a climate of fear, anger, and desperation, making people more receptive to radical solutions and extremist ideologies. Political extremism flourished in this environment of uncertainty and fear. Right-wing groups, including the nascent Nazi Party, capitalized on the widespread discontent, exploiting people's anxieties and channeling their frustrations towards scapegoats like Jews, communists, and the Weimar Republic itself. Section 4. A leader emerges. Hitler's early life and the birth of the Nazi Party. This section delves into the formative years of Adolf Hitler and the early days of the Nazi Party, tracing the roots of a movement that would change the course of history.
Adolf Hitler, a failed artist and disgruntled veteran of World War I, found his calling in the cauldron of post-war German politics. The war had left Germany in a state of turmoil, with economic hardship and political instability creating fertile ground for radical ideologies. He possessed a magnetic personality, a talent for oratory, and an uncanny ability to tap into the fears and resentments of a disillusioned populace. His speeches were filled with fervor and conviction, captivating audiences and drawing them into his vision of a resurgent Germany.
In 1919, Hitler joined a small, obscure right-wing group in Munich called the German Workers' Party. This group, initially insignificant, would become the nucleus of a movement that would eventually engulf the entire nation. He quickly rose through the ranks, his fiery speeches and nationalist rhetoric attracting a growing following. His ability to articulate the frustrations and aspirations of the German people made him a natural leader within the party. By 1921, he had become the undisputed leader of the party, which he renamed the National Socialist German Workers' Party, or Nazi Party for short. This rebranding was a strategic move to broaden the party's appeal and emphasize its nationalist and socialist elements.
The Nazi Party offered a potent mix of nationalism, anti-Semitism, and promises of economic revival. They capitalized on the widespread discontent and the longing for a return to national greatness, presenting themselves as the saviors of Germany. Hitler's speeches resonated with a population desperate for a return to greatness, for someone to blame for their suffering. His rhetoric was filled with promises of a new era of prosperity and strength, which struck a chord with many Germans. He tapped into the deep-seated anti-Semitism that had long festered in European society, casting Jews as scapegoats for Germany's economic woes and its defeat in World War I. This scapegoating provided a convenient target for the frustrations of the German people.
Under Hitler's leadership, the Nazi Party transformed from a fringe group into a powerful political force. Their influence grew rapidly as they attracted more followers and gained political traction. They organized rallies, published propaganda, and established paramilitary organizations like the SA, also known as the Brown Shirts, to intimidate opponents and disrupt political meetings. These tactics were effective in consolidating their power and silencing dissent, paving the way for their eventual rise.